Wonderful good day, ladies and gentlemen, and Commodity TV is back, and we have a speciality today for you. We are not talking about really resources nor about mining. We have something here like, which we would consider more in the agricultural sector. It is Burcon NutraScience, a company which is working in the world of protein. And with me here is Johann Tergesen. He's the president and COO of the company. And we want to know what is going on with your company. Johann, good morning, and thanks for taking the time.
Good morning, my pleasure.
Burcon NutraScience, give us a short overview. What is the company about? What are you doing?
Burcon is all about protein, plant protein ingredients to be specific. Burcon is an intellectual property company that has been operating for 14 years, developing up novel new plant proteins for the food and the nutrition space.
14 years, that sounds almost to me like a bit like mining, because we need also normally 10 years when we go in production, hopefully. So what have you achieved in those 14 years? Is your, I presume it's intellectual property. Do you have patents? How does this work?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, over the past 14 years, we've spent $50 million doing research and development.
50
$50 million Canadian, and have to date over 250 granted patents, over 400 additional patent applications, all in this space of novel new plant proteins. What we do is we make protein ingredients better.
When you say plant proteins, are there other proteins?
Absolutely. There's animal-based proteins would be what most people think of. In particular, they would think of dairy protein or egg protein. Probably the one protein that people are familiar with, that they actually know what it looks like, is whey protein, because they see it in tubs for sale in stores like nutrition stores and bodybuilding stores and that sort of thing.
Let's dive into your products, I would call it. As I've seen on your website, it looks to me like that you have 3 product lines. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
What we would call our lead product, the product is the most advanced right now, is called Clarisoy. It's a play on the words of clarity and soy. And the reason why is because it's a very unique soy protein that has a unique characteristic of being 100% soluble in acid beverages, and that allows it to be completely visible, completely transparent, hence the name Clarisoy. It's also an excellent protein nutritionally and has many, many applications outside of beverages. We're very excited about it. Its really key characteristic is the fact that it doesn't taste like soy. Our second protein, we're also very excited about this right now, is we call it pizzazz, and that is also a
pizzazz. Is there something to do with peas?
It is. In fact,
little green stuff.
That's exactly right. It is a protein that is derived from field peas, yellow field peas, green field peas, etc. It's also very exciting for very similar reasons. It has excellent functional characteristics, which means it can be used in a variety of foods and beverages, and a lack of flavor, which food processors love, because they want to be able to put protein in a product, but they don't want the protein to overpower the product in any way. And then our third protein, which was actually the protein that we've been working on the longest, is proteins derived from canola. In fact, from canola meal, which is what's left of canola seed after it's been crushed to extract the oil. And so those are the 3 products that we have in our pipeline right now.
Okay, so when you say you have the 3 products in the pipeline, or let's say the 3 product lines, I would call it, have you had the chance, how is your model? Do you license it? Do you have a royalty model? Do you produce by yourself? What are you doing
So in the case of our lead protein, Clarisoy, we've licensed it to Archer Daniels Midland, the multinational agricultural giant and food processing giant. In fact, we licensed the Clarisoy to them in March of 2011, and it's very far advanced in development at this point. By June of 2012, Archer Daniels Midland had already built and was operating a small-scale commercial facility to produce the product. And what Archer Daniels Midland has been doing in this period of time is market development activities, producing product and working with their customers, which is really, for all intents and purposes, all the major food and beverage companies in the world.
Can you name some, just to give an idea for our viewers of whom we are talking?
We actually don't know exactly the companies that Archer Daniels Midland is working with, but as I said, I mean, ADM's customers include the biggest food companies in the world, whether that's
like
Nestle
Pepsi,
or Kraft Foods, Pepsi, etc., and numerous other companies in between. They are, in fact, a very huge company. Archer Daniels Midland is in the food ingredient space. And with respect to our pea protein, we are driving that ourselves much more right now. We are, in fact, in the process of looking for a partner, and that partnership may take the form, as we have with Archer Daniels Midland, of licensing it, but we may, in fact, actually choose to build our own plant, some form of partnership. Maybe we joint venture. In any event, there's a lot of interest in the product right now, and we're working on coming forward with something with a number of companies that we're talking to. And then lastly, with respect to all of our other proteins, I mentioned earlier canola specifically, but there are other proteins we're working on. I guess at this point they would be, we would refer to them as basically being in the pipeline.
Let's stay one more second with Archidanian Midland, because you said something like you licensed, or you did an exclusive agreement in March 2011.
Yeah.
So now we are coming to March 2014.
Yes.
That's almost 3 years. I presume it's quite a long time, of course. So when will there be a decision, or can you say something about, probably when will there be a decision that they really work with you, that you start maybe to generate some revenues?
Yes, yes. In fact, it's interesting you should ask that. Just in our most recent quarterly conference call, I had mentioned that in fact there does come a decision point within the license agreement with Archidanian Midland, whereby Archidanian Midland will be expected to, or will be required to, provide us with a letter indicating whether or not they're moving forward on a full commercial production facility, where that will be built, when it will be built, and what the capacity of the plant will be. And I'm actually not able to say exactly what that date is.
So you're not allowed to?
No, within the license production agreement, which is available to be viewed online, Burcon is listed on the TSX and on the NASDAQ, and all of our public disclosure documents are on CDAR. The actual license agreement is available online. However, certain details have been redacted from it, the exact royalty rate and certain dates, and that's one of the dates that that is in fact not able to be disclosed. But ultimately, you can look at it and say, well, it's almost 3 years at March 31, and or in March, and I will leave it to your viewers to sort of speculate as to what a reasonable amount of time would have been the two parties would have agreed to.
Yeah, exactly. But I know this also from other companies. They have worked with the big, like the big Nestles and the Bonduelles and whatever in the world. And it takes always longer because they don't want to damage their brand. That's how I understand it, of course. They have to be very careful. But yeah, that's why I was asking. 3 years looks to me like a very reasonable amount of time. So we can say that 2014 definitely something will happen.
We absolutely expect 2014 to be the year when a number of events taking place. Yes.
Great. Can you give us maybe an idea how large would be the addressable market of Clarisoy? Because I think this is your flagship product, right?
It is. It is. And you know, the addressable markets are huge. First, the protein ingredient industry on a global basis is a very large market. Probably, we estimate, or I should say that we have research that we have purchased, which places the market at around $15 billion right now, $15 billion US dollars. I would say that reasonably, the addressable market for Burcon is nearly half of that, for Burcon's Clarisoy, which is really actually Archidanian Midland's Clarisoy at this point. We've licensed to them. It's got many applications. It has applications in terms of competing with products like whey protein isolate, in terms of competing with dairy proteins like the casein, etc. It also has numerous potential applications it can go to that products just, where proteins just aren't right now. So some opportunities to build market, etc. And of course, there's applications in some of the high-end markets for soy protein and a number of others. We're really quite excited about the magnitude of that market.
So we can put it that way, that we can say next year is really the year for you guys where you expect maybe the first revenues through the agreement, whatever the royalty rate would be. To my understanding, I can imagine something between 5 and 10% probably. This is what I know from the business, which is normal. And you said the addressable market is $15 billion, so the half for you, or even a bit less. So we talk about some significant numbers here. We won't speculate on that, and I know you are not allowed to say that. That's absolutely respected, of course. But let's talk about, because we are anyway with numbers, what is the financial situation today in the company? What is the outlook for next year?
Okay, so Burcon has actually been pre-revenue for 14 years. So one of the questions people always ask is, where are you at with respect to your cash position? At our most recent balance sheet date, which was the September 30th quarter end, we had $4 million of cash. Burcon has burned around $4.5 million per year for about the last 6 years, very consistent burn rate. So we have less than a year of cash. But my expectation is that because we're at this inflection point, because we're expecting developments with respect to Clarisoy, the likelihood of ADM building a large-scale plant, product launches, etc., because we're so excited about where we're at with Pizzazz, we don't want to go to market and do a traditional equity offering. The share price is very low. It's been a hard about 3 years. Our share price has actually been in a decline for that whole period.
What do you think could be a reason for that? Because it's not your development.
There's a variety of reasons. Burcon, I think, trades in sympathy with the TSX Venture Exchange, which has got an awful lot of resource stocks, junior mining, resource plays in Canada. That industry has really been rough for that same period of time. And I think there's also really an issue that I would describe as investor fatigue. People are impatient. They don't understand what's going on in the background. They don't understand that Archer-Daniels-Midland is taking a very methodical and calculated approach to bringing the products forward, and that Archer-Daniels-Midland's customers are doing what could be expected of them, which is taking a slow and careful approach at looking at incorporating Clarisoy into their food and beverage products. So all of those things have led to a slower moving than the average retail investor or average investor would have expected, have become impatient. A number of things have led to this. But in any event, because of the low share price currently, my expectation is that we would consider, Burcon's board would consider options, including doing a rights offering as a way to raise money.
Okay.
And again, we've got this excellent partnership in place with ADM, a pipeline of products. I don't in any way have a concern with respect to actually raising money.
What is management's share in the company, and what are your largest shareholders?
So actually our largest shareholder is ITC Corporation from Hong Kong, who is in fact a founding shareholder of the company. I have personally worked for ITC, or actually for the owners of ITC, going back almost 20 years now. They have 20%, actually over 20% of the company. Another 11% is held by management and board of directors.
So you are in the boat.
Yeah. Oh, myself for sure, absolutely.
You're a co-founder of Burcon.
I am also, a co-founder. We have, in fact, actually, we started the company in 1998, acquired the intellectual property for the core of our protein extraction technologies in 1999. And it's been a long time getting to where we are, but as I said, $50 million of research, and 14 years later, we have some truly exceptional technologies. Are partnered with
the biggest in the world.
The biggest in the world with respect to plant protein, etc. And we're right at this, as I like to say, inflection point. We're expecting really significant things in 2014.
So my last question would be as I understand, you are a licensed royalty company then. That means you collect the money. You mustn't bring up the capex for the production. ADM is doing it, or other partners in the future. That means to me that even when your cash flow is rising, your royalty fees are rising, I presume your costs are not rising, of course, the same way. So that means hopefully in the future, like 2014, 15 ongoing, you will get a lot of cash, a lot of turnover. Will you pay a dividend later on?
We haven't literally had discussions at the board level about what would be a dividend policy, etc., and had discussions on that very topic. And before I actually get into that as well, let me also point out that you were mentioning about our costs wouldn't rise. In fact, the majority of our current burn rate has to do with the continued research and work that we're currently doing on our pea protein. So we see the money that we're spending as adding significant value to our next product. The actual ongoing costs associated with the royalty stream that will come from Clarisoy is extremely low, is just the maintenance costs on the patent portfolio as is associated to Clarisoy. But coming back to the issue of the dividend policy, my expectation, I know there's been discussions on the topic, is that we would be expecting to, in fact, actually push that money back to shareholders. In fact, even with the $50 million of what amounts to tax loss carry forwards that we have at this point, there's a great opportunity for us to be, taking that money and pushing it directly.
It helps to avoid some taxes in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning, that's exactly right.
Fantastic. Well, Johann, thank you very much for that, and we look forward to hear more from you. And it looks like that next year is hopefully your year.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thanks, Johann.
Thank you very much, Johann. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Johann Tergesen, the president and COO, and actually also the co-founder of Burcon NutraScience. And you heard it. It took longer than they thought, even they thought in the management, of course. But as we say in Germany, good things will take a bit of time. And 2014, then in spring, They are 3 years over when they signed the agreement with ADM. So yeah, we can only speculate what happens then, but it looks like 2014 will be the inflection point, the turning point for the company when they will start to generate some revenues. And you heard it also, very shareholder-friendly policy here. They think already about how to distribute and to do some dividends in the future. So watch the company, make up your mind, watch the website of Burcon. It's also in German available. And we will report from this terrific company in the future for you. Thanks and bye-bye from Munich.